One church posted a 2-minute sermon clip and it got 2 million views in 48 hours. 45 days later, they went from 1,800 YouTube subscribers to over 100,000. And here's the part that should bother you. The preaching wasn't even any different that week. The pastor didn't suddenly get better. The sermon wasn't more anointed than usual. The only thing that changed was how they packaged it. Meanwhile, most churches are posting sermon clips every week and getting, 40 views, 50? And 30 of those are from your own congregation. If that sounds familiar, it's not your fault. But that's a problem we need to fix, because I'm going to show you the exact framework that separates churches from getting millions of views from churches that get ignored. And it has nothing to do with production budgets or fancy equipment. Your sermon clips aren't broken because of bad preaching. They're not working because you're treating social media like a TV channel instead of a conversation. And I've got data from Pew Research, Barna, Metricool's 2026 study, and over a dozen case studies that prove it. I call it the sermon content engine. 5 shifts that transform how your sermon content performs online. And the third one is the shift that made me rethink everything we were telling our clients. Here's something that changed in August 2020 that most churches still haven't caught up to. Every major social media channel, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, transitioned from what's called a social graph model to what is called a discovery model. What does that mean in plain English? Well, it means that the algorithm used to show your followers the content that you posted. Your church posted something, your followers saw it. Simple as that. But that's not how it works anymore. Now the algorithm shows your content to strangers. People who have never heard of your church. People who maybe don't go to any church. People who might be spiritually curious, but who would never walk through your doors on a Sunday morning. And here's the number that should reframe everything. 95% of the people who see your sermon clip don't actually attend your church. 95%. That means that when your sermon clip starts with, well, as we continue our series on Galatians, you've already lost almost everybody. They don't know what series you're talking about. They don't have context. They don't care about your series title. And when your clip ends with, watch the full message on our website, you're asking a stranger who just met you to commit 40 minutes of their life. It's sort of like proposing on the first date. You're not posting to your congregation anymore. You're posting to the world. And the world needs a reason to stop scrolling. Shift number 1. Stop broadcasting, start connecting. Now, if that's the problem, then what's the solution? Well, that brings us to shift number 2, and this is where it starts to get practical. Shift number 2. Win the first 3 seconds or lose everything. All right, let me give you a number. 71% of viewers decide within the first 3 seconds, whether they want to keep watching or keep scrolling. 3 seconds. That's not enough time to say, good morning, church. That's not enough time for your logo animation to finish. That's barely enough time to read a sentence. And you wanna know what most churches do with those first 3 seconds? Nothing. The clip starts with your pastor mid-sentence, right? No context, no reason to stop scrolling and keep watching, and no hook. But the churches that are winning, well, they write hooks separately. Let me say that again because this part is important. The hook is not a part of the original sermon. It's written after the sermon, specifically for this clip, specifically to get a stranger to stop scrolling. You know, there's a company called Social Sermons that does this for churches professionally, right? Their editors watch the full sermon, pull out the best clips, and then write a hook for the pastor to say to put at the beginning of the video. And their clients are seeing 32 times more engagement. Not 32%, 32 times. So what does a good hook look like for a sermon clip? Well, here are 3 that work. Number 1, the bold claim. Something like, most Christians get forgiveness completely wrong. That's it, 8 words. A stranger stops because they think, wait, what do I get wrong? Number 2, the relatable pain point. Ever feel like your prayers are just hitting the ceiling? Every person who's ever struggled with prayer, just stop scrolling. Number 3, the surprising stat. 82% of church visitors never come back. Hey, now you have their attention. The hook does not have to be clickbait. It just has to earn the next 3 seconds. And then those 3 seconds have to earn the next 3 seconds. That's how retention works. Which of course brings me to shift number 3, and this is the one that changes everything. Shift number 3, stop clipping, start translating. There's a difference between a sermon clip and content from your sermon. And that difference is why your sermon clips are flopping. A sermon clip is when you take 30 seconds of a sermon that you preached and put some subtitles on it, slap your church logo on it, and post it. What you're essentially doing is taking a moment that was designed for a room full of believers on a Sunday morning and then shoving it in front of a stranger scrolling at 2 a.m. However, content from a sermon is when you take the point your pastor made, right? That central thing that when the pastor said this, the whole room went quiet, and translating it for an audience onshore from video platforms. Here's what I mean by translate. Story and Stone Consulting put it perfectly. Sermon clips work on YouTube, but underperform on Instagram and TikTok. Repurposed sermon content translated into everyday language resonates with people scrolling quickly. Let me show you what translation looks like in practice. Your pastor says sanctification from the stage. On social media, that becomes personal growth. Your pastor says the wages of sin is death. On social media, that becomes your choices have real consequences. Same truth, different language, wider reach. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but hey, isn't that watering down the gospel? No, it's translating the gospel. That's literally what missionaries do. That's what Paul did when he went to the Areopagus in Acts 17. He didn't start with Leviticus, he started with their own poets. He translated. And look at the results. One church in Pensacola posted a translated sermon clip about parenting. Not using churchy, Christianese language, but just speaking to the actual universal struggle of raising kids. And they got 11 million views and over 77,000 shares. That's what happens when you stop copying and pasting your sermon and start translating for the people online who aren't Christians yet. Shift number 4, build the engine. Okay, this is the part where we go from theory to system. I call this the sermon content engine, and it turns one sermon into an entire week of content. Here's what the top churches produce from a single message every single week. First, 2 to 3 vertical video clips a week, each one being 30 to 60 seconds. Not just random chunks of the sermon, the best parts, with a hook written and injected at the beginning. These go on Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook. Second, a quote graphic or carousel. 3 to 5 slides with the key points written in everyday language. And here's something you may not actually know. Carousels, right, the posts with a ton of different photos in a row, those actually get 109% more retention on Instagram than Reels. Pretty crazy. Third, a discussion post. Not something like, hey, great message today. Something like, hey, have you ever held onto a grudge so long that it started to affect your relationships? That's a post that gets comments. And comments are weighted 8 times more than likes in the Instagram algorithm. 4, a casual follow-up video from the pastor. iPhone, no editing required, just the pastor expanding on one point and inviting responses. A midweek email devotional, a blog post, maybe a quick parking lot testimonial after the service. 7 pieces of content from one sermon. Now, here's the what if that keeps me up at night. What if every person who needed to hear your pastor's best moment on Sunday actually heard it? Not the 200 in the room, but the 200,000 in your city who needed to hear that exact word at that exact moment. That is what this engine does. It takes the best 30 seconds of a sermon that was 40, 50 minutes and puts it in front of the people that God is already drawing. And before you say, hey, I don't have time for all 7, well, you don't need to do all 7 on day 1. Start with the clips, get those right, then add one piece at a time. Shift number 5, stop overproducing, start being real. Here's a stat that should make every church with a fancy media team pause. Lo-fi content, which is content that looks like it was filmed on a phone with minimal editing, gets 32% higher watch-through rate than polished, produced content on TikTok in 2026. Raw Reels beat studio quality Reels by 22% in retention. Instagram's CEO explicitly announced in 2026 that Reels is now prioritizing raw, real human content. Let me put it this way. When you're scrolling through your feed and you see a video that looks like a TV broadcast, professionally produced, your brain probably reads it as an ad, so you skip right through it. But when you see a video of someone talking to a camera, filling up the screen, just being themselves, well, your brain categorizes that as a person. And people stop for people. Listen, your congregation does not need your sermon clips to look like a Netflix documentary. And the stranger scrolling at midnight definitely does not either. They need it to feel like a friend who looked them in the eye and said something they needed to hear. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, well, this all sounds great, but who actually has the time to do this all week? Well, that's exactly why we built Sermon Sling. You send us your sermon, and a real human editor, not AI, watches the whole thing. They pull the best moments, write the hooks, add the captions, and send the whole ready-to-post video right back to you. We do everything I just talked about in this video so that you don't have to. And here's the thing, your first week is completely free. Your first round of videos edited by a real person at 0 cost. No credit card, no commitment. Just send us a sermon and see what comes back. If you've been posting sermon clips that go nowhere, let us show you the difference. Links in the description. Okay, let me give you 5 things you can start doing this week. Not next quarter, not when you hire a media person. Simple things you can do this week. Next Sunday, record your sermon on a vertically oriented phone in the front row. You don't need to replace your main cameras, just one phone, 9:16 vertical. That gives your editor source material that's already formatted for every platform. Number 2, after the sermon, write down the single most powerful moment. Don't go all crazy and choose the best 5, just start with one. One, that's going to be your clip. Number 3, write a hook for that clip that works on a stranger. Someone who doesn't go to your church, someone who doesn't know anything about your series title, does not care about any of that, someone who might even be scrolling with the sound off. Something that catches their attention. Number 4, add captions. This is a non-negotiable. 85 to 88% of people watch social media with the sound off. No captions means no audience. You can use Descript or CapCut, they're cheap or free. Number 5, post it and then watch the comments for 48 hours. Reply to every single one. Responding to comments actually boosts engagement by over 42%. That's not just an opinion, that's real data from Buffer's 2026 study. Here's the truth, Pastor. Your sermons are not the problem. I believe God is giving you messages that people need to hear. The question is whether you are packaging those messages in a way that the algorithm can use to put in front of the people who need them the most. Because right now, there's someone in your city who may never walk through your church doors, but they will scroll past your content at 2 in the morning when they can't sleep and wondering, is God actually going to speak to me? What they see in that moment, that's your sermon clip. make sure it's worth stopping for. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, what is the biggest thing your church struggles with social media? Is it time, equipment, not knowing what to post? Tell me, because we're reading all the comments and we're building future videos based on what you guys need. And if you're wondering, okay, but how do I actually get tons of pieces of content off of only one sermon? Well, we made a video breaking that down step by step, turning one sermon into 42 pieces of content. You can check it out right here or in the description below. 95% of the people who will see your next post do not know you yet. Make sure you introduce yourself well. I'll see you next time.